Introducing our latest case study series client. This is the part 3 video where you're gonna find out whether she leans spring or autumn. If you've missed the previous parts of this series, I highly recommend you start at part 1, which was posted I think 2 days ago, and follow along from there. This case study series and all the case study series clients that I've presented lately are all part of my Be Colorwise series, designed to help you spot credentialed professionals and identify that color analysis in an accredited system is objective. In my previous case study videos, there was no arguments in the comments about who's right or wrong. We all came to the same conclusion when the appropriate colors for each step of color analysis are used, historical pictures are used, and the same checks of color analysis are used. And in my last video of part 2, there was no comment in there arguing that this person leaned cool. I want to just also add that in my last video in part 2, I shared a bit about credentialed systems, professionals, and continuing education in the field, because prior to recording that video, I found out that somebody with quite a large following in color analysis posted out to their audience information that was false, discrediting multiple accredited systems and credentialed professionals who have chosen to use those systems, calling them wrong because they came to different conclusions to that person. And they also indicated that credentialed professionals don't do continuing education, which is completely false. For additional details on the accredited system that I have chosen to use, my continuing education, my global presentation work in the field, and my media features on the BBC, GQ, Women's Wear Daily, which was another big one. And I'm very excited to say that I have another big interview feature coming out very soon. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into the step 2 answer. Does this person lean spring or autumn? I wanna just, before I share what the answer is share that sometimes color analysis is about also taking a step back and going, which one gives this person more power and presence when you look at her? If this person was standing in front of the room, where would you be more inclined to look? I know when I look at this picture, I'm more inclined to look over here before here. The power and the presence is here. Her skin as well over here goes a bit patchy and uneven. There's some disconnection. Here, there's better connection. So the answer is she leans autumn. Here's a look at this comparison set. There's more power and presence here. And I understand that perhaps this might not be a wow, and you're taking that into account as we move through this process of elimination. The best colors for her are not identified till step 3, but this color is better than here. Over here, her face looks a bit bloated. There's some disconnection. This one is better. In the last case study series of our light summer client, sometimes I advise people as well to take a step back looking at that picture and ask themselves, which one does she appear more youthful? And when I suggested doing that, people were like, aha. The same checks can be seen here. Can you see the power is better here? There's better connection here. There's better connection here. You can pause this to take that in. Now let's move on to step 3 of color analysis for this client. So in the back of your mind, reflect on what you saw in her historical picture in part 1, and then also reflect on what you sort of saw in cool versus warm step. Was it a tricky decision for you? And then if it was tricky, maybe she'd be more neutral. And then in step 2, was it a tricky decision for you between between spring and autumn. And so here's a look at true autumn versus warm, which is the palette between spring and autumn. If it was tricky between spring and autumn for you, this one might be a strong contender, and you would do the color analysis checks here. And then here's true autumn versus muted, and do that same sort of thinking as well. Was the historical picture showing summer qualities? This is the palette between muted, sorry, this is muted, which is the palette between summer and autumn. Someone who gets this palette would have to show both summer and autumn characteristics over time. And then was it difficult in step one? This is a neutral range palette, so somebody where it may be difficult in step one might be neutral. You can pause this to do the color analysis checks. Here's the same setup. True autumn is on the left. Top there is warm. This is muted. Here's a look at the in-person format drapes. True autumn is on the left. Top here is warm. This is muted. Unfortunately, I realized I don't have a muted in-person format set to compare with True Autumn, but here's a look at True Autumn versus warm. And this is the last step of color analysis. So we're deciding the best of the best here. And so type your answer below. Is she True Autumn, warm, or muted? Just recorded that whole video within TikTok. You may notice that for some reason when I record in TikTok, it adds some sort of filtering, but here's me on my phone. I just recorded that whole video and realized that I didn't throw in deep, which is the palette between autumn and winter sets that were up. And that's because somebody who is deep, you would have to see in their historical picture that they had winter qualities. And so I totally skipped that comparison set because it's sort of a waste of time. We did do it in person when the client was here, but she does not have winter qualities in her. And so like it's a waste of time to do. I'd be telling her to color her hair darker and more icy than it ever naturally was. And so yeah, we can skip that one. Find out the answer in the next video post. Have a great day.